G'day, and with Inforunners, I'm Execute. You can't do that face when I've had this many days early in the morning waking up. That just is too trolly.
But I was just so surprised.
Welcome. Well, it's this slow decay of you see me turning from a normal human being into a zombie over a slow 2-week period.
It's a good time about Invictus week.
Yes.
Slow death.
Yes. All right. Well, let's kick it over because this is going to be a long one. Being Aegis Day, it's probably the easiest single manufacturer day of the sale. They're one of the oldest manufacturers, and we've got quite a few things to go through, especially in regards to the Retaliator. We'll touch a little bit on the Saber Raven, but we'll leave that for a separate buyer's guide that we'll do later on. Right. Jeez. All right. Let's start with the Stalker, and I think we can put his little brethren and his skin and his well, the Warlock is probably the most separate of those four, wouldn't it? The rest on par. There is a I know that I'm thinking of the wrong ship today. I don't know. This is a fan. Would you call it a fan favorite or a content creator recommended favorite? This the Avenger.
Definitely the Titan.
Yep.
I don't know about the other variants though, because the Titan with the additional space for cargo is pretty solid.
Well, they're pretty much they've kind of confirmed what they're going to do now, because they essentially increased the Titan price to be the same as the Stalker. So that essentially means now that those bounty hunter pods are going to just be like cargo pods that you put in there. So if you're really into bounty hunting, this would be the variant, but at the moment you're giving up cargo. So yeah, I'd be totally with you on that one. Get the Titan.
You mean you think they'll be interchangeable?
Yeah, I think that's what they've confirmed by increasing the price of the Titan to match that of the Stalker, where it was up in the air for a really long time.
And not to get off manufacturer of the day, but that sounds like kind of similar to what they want to do with Argo. No,
I'd agree with that. Absolutely. I think that's I think that's well, after today, I think that's going to show a lot actually, how modular is going to go for it. So that'll be something we look at as briefly as we can today in regards to the thing. I do not recommend a lot of these older, essentially paid for skins that are really expensive. That's $15 for a skin that should be $5, and guns that you can buy in game for next to nix.
Yeah, it's a $15 skin.
Yeah, it's a nice skin, but you can get one very similar to it today, which is actually an Invictus skin. So yeah, it's kind of Don't buy these older skin things; they're not good. Warlock. This is the real outlier, and I think it's a real kind of hidden gem with piracy coming. You know, like once scanning comes in, we really get piracy kicking off. The EMPs and locking people down, and the new master modes. I think we're going to see a renaissance for this stuff. What about you?
I think they've got a kind of a not a rework but a resurgence of e-war gameplay in the cards at some point. Maybe it'll come with the bounty hunting V2 update, but at some point they really do. You can kind of see that the way they're starting to not polish but like set gameplay in stone. Cargo is happening with, FPS it happened with. I think that kind of stuff's going to need to happen soon with all the balance they want to do with ships.
Yeah. Small side note, there's a Drake ship coming on Drake Day, and we're hoping it's like a kind of like an e-warfare corvette. Don't know if it will be, just that's us hoping.
Jeez, what would they even do with that to make it worth people taking it out?
Well, again, you kind of look at what Drake, we're getting off topic here, but looking at what Drake does, though, we know that they have to, from stuff John Crew said at the end of last year, they have to have something between the Caterpillar and the Kraken before they can make the Kraken, because they need more art assets to fill that out. So, and there's a Drake ship coming, and it talks about a big shadow over UEE, so...
I think we should see a Drake refueling and refining ship. But we're not on Drake Day. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we're off topic. But it wouldn't be the Inforunners if we didn't do that. So yeah. The Eclipse. Very niche ship. And it costs now more than the Retaliator bomber, which I find insane.
That is eye-watering.
That is, like, it for the longest time, from a value proposition, it is the worst value ship for its price.
Execute. My eyes are watered.
Yeah.
At that one.
Yeah, I can't recommend it on value. But then again, you look at other ships like the F8 Lightning, and it gets even worse. You know, so for a single seat fighter, this is that whole mantra of don't buy fighters. It is up there. It's one of the.
And
pinnacles.
this isn't even a fighter though. This is a bomber. Like you gotta have some good gameplay opportunities for this, and maybe they'll build the missions for it. But
there are some missions. There are some missions in game right now that are really good, like those really high level ERT missions where you can just fly in and pick off the Hammerhead, and you don't have to shoot anything else. So if you're wanting to kind of essentially power level and power grind, you can actually do it with this ship specifically.
Yeah, but as the game continues, how much of a strategy is that going to be before you need to start picking up friends, or I don't know, trying to rely on NPC wingman to, because you don't have guns here.
Yeah.
Like if you do get locked down by a light fighter in this ship, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, it's a ship for the now, I would say, and I totally agree with you. I think it's going to be like a really niche ship that you kind of only really pull out to do very specific things, but also with base building coming back around, I think torpedoes are going to see a resurgence for tactically taking out certain things. But we'll see. Like, I don't know. Well, we don't know.
He's like, ooh, base building sounds like an opportunity to sell bombers.
Well, think about it. Like, if you've got to take, we know shield generators are a thing now, right? How do you tactically lay into things? Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, man, I hear you. All I'm saying is there's two different types of base building enthusiasts. Those who like to build them, those who like to unbuild them.
Look, I was one of those kids. No, I was going to say, it was one of those kids that go down the beach and kick over the sandcastles. No, that wasn't me. Right, the Gladius. Oh, man, this has always been a really kind of good ship for a baseline of the entire game, because it's one of the main assets for Squadron 42. It's always been the kind of test ship, and even now it got a lot of the gold pass stuff first. But now we're seeing, like, even this week we saw the Saber Raven in the ISC got its gold pass, so that's got all the benefits this has. So what this has now is starting to roll out to other ships, so it's losing its shine just a little bit because its shine's being shared around. But I don't know, is this still a good ship for you that you would ever recommend to people, or do you think it's too niche? I find it too niche for its price point.
I don't know the numbers of it, but in terms of what a lot of people want to get into space games for, which is dogfighting, this is a very good starting point. You could obviously go with the Arrow, and then if you didn't want to spend that much money, you could get one of the starter ships like the Mustang. I think it's a Beta Mustang Alpha, maybe. The Pisces can do okay, like the 125 from Origin. Like there are ships that will be good for fighting that are cheaper than this, but I always look at the Gladius as like the base point of Star Citizen when it comes to a light dogfighter. $90 is a lot though. Like I know it's not 300, but
I agree with everything you said. Like the Arrow is cheaper at $75. That's where I'd be going if you wanted a fighter. When you get up to this price point, there are other options. Like you've gone just past the Nomad and Avenger with cargo and the 315p. You're not that far. Well, it used to be only $10 to the Cutlass. You know, which is now what.
$15 to the Cutlass?
I think it's 25 to the Cutlass.
Wow.
So, you know, and then you got the Spirit at 125. But again, you've gone this far. Look at how much more ship you're getting for just that little bit more. It's in a really weird spot because it's just...
That's how they get you.
Yeah, it's just too more expensive than some of the other fighters, but just cheap enough to keep you from going to the ones just above. So it's... Yeah, but again, as you said, I think the Arrow would be where it was at, and that's available tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but the next
Even
day.
the Arrow is 75, man. I can't recommend anybody spending more on this game than like your average console game. And I know that's 70 now, but I would say like stick to no more than 60. 45 if you're just getting into it.
Yeah. That's like that episode idea I was telling you about it when I woke up this morning. So this is a really good example. This is one of those older skins, same price as the Cutlass. Oh, $5 less than the Cutlass. So like it's just
it's just the normal Gladius with the skin on it for $20 more.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just don't buy those old skins. They're ridiculous. Right, the Hammerhead, $725. As it stands currently, I'm not a big fan of this ship. I think it will come around given time. It was meant to be the ship for engineering gameplay, wasn't it? And they went with the C2.
Sorry, my eyes are watering again.
Yeah, it's fine. That's right. We need like a space submarine crying emoji. Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, I can't really recommend it at that price. There are better ships at that. Oh, I can't believe. I know this is gonna make your eyes water when I say it, but there are better ships at that price point.
Isn't this not far off from the Polaris right now?
It's $25 from a Polaris.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I will say this. This is a ship that I would suggest every org have in game. Like, you don't have to buy this with cash, but I do think this is a very, very unique ship.
Yep.
And it is uniquely positioned for a lot of firepower, just like coverage, you know, filling the air with lasers. And they're starting, CIG is going to focus a lot more on that over the next year or two, right? Capital ships coming in. They really want turret gameplay to get better. So this will be a good ship to like just have.
It's changed a little bit now, and I'd have to go back and look at all the gun stats. But when this came out, each one of those turrets was equivalent to a constellation. That's how powerful it was.
What?
Yeah, because it had 4 quad 4 size 4s, and I believe the turrets now on the Connie, or the guns on the turrets on the Connie, have now gone up to size 5s. But back in the day, they were the same. So each turret was equivalent to the 4 size 4s on a Connie, which is kind of scary. But yeah, this ship punches down, which is interesting because it takes out fighters. Now, most ships you want them to, you know, well, look at this. You can take a Redeemer, and because the Redeemer's got size 5s, it just outranges it. And the Connie will do the same now. It'll outrange it. And the Corsair's got size 5s, that'll outrange it. So I'd love them to have some kind of variant. Maybe you can have dual turrets instead of quad turrets, and they can then take size 5s or whatever.
But leaving it having that hole is solid, right? That's why this thing is better than the Polaris for going up against.
Yeah, faster because it's got holes in it. Yeah. All they need is a red skin, and it'll be perfect because it'll go faster.
No, like the Polaris is a sitting duck when it comes to probably like heavy fighters. Yeah, small ships with higher caliber guns. This thing can cover it in that instance. So it makes sense that you have to have another ship that covers this. When it comes to maybe a little bit of the bigger guns.
So I'm gonna skip forward because at the same price point you have the Nautilus. Now I think this is a far better ship at that price point, but even then it suffers from the same insanely high price point, right? But you will get so much more. Like if you're talking, they're both defensive ships, right? You've got a ship. This one drops mines, so essentially after you've dropped the mines, you can swap into another ship. The mines will still be there. Right, so you can see the difference straight away. Like at the same price point, it's not really the ship you're buying here; it's the functionality of the ship. So you could essentially take that crew and throw them into a Hammerhead or throw them into a Polaris. You know what I mean? So that's why I think at that price point, the Nautilus gives you more functionality than the Hammerhead. But obviously, the Hammerhead's mobile, and you get into a whole bunch of rigmarole there. But again, just trying to give you a comparison at that price point. Right, the Idris, I'm pretty sure. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, then I end up running into my own mines. Well, if you're like me,
then you need to drink less mines at that point. I don't know what else to say. Right, Idris P. This is probably sold out at this point because these things sold out. One of the very last chances you'll have to buy this thing. I think we might see this at AIE, and then after that, I think we might find it'll be out. I don't think we'll get to another Invictus to you before we'll see this thing in game, so to speak.
No. I mean, that's us basically. Well, maybe. You know, it would make a lot of sense for it to get dropped into the game at Invictus next year.
Yeah. How would you say if I said 15 people put in $100 each? Because that's an org level ship then, isn't it? Right? Does that all of a sudden I know, but again, if you look at it like that, I can actually justify this for an org. I don't know if you can, but I can.
Let me think.
It's an org level ship, so you're taking, like it was originally designed for around 20-ish people, but if you divide it by 15, $100 a piece, I can get behind that.
That's a lot, man.
Well, it gives you a big weapon to swing around and scare other people.
Get 30 people together, in your org.
You can do that, but by the same token, you can do it here too and get the Javelin. Or does it mean you're going to get 60 people? Because this was originally scaled to do 83. The original plan was 83 people on this thing. That's insane. That is
Yeah.
yeah. If the Idris is for Orgs, this is for like test graduate. No, no, it's for Mega
Yeah,
Orgs.
dude, it really, like, this is a very serious question for
Yeah.
CIG.
Yeah.
Y'all have sold thousands of these massive ships for a lot of money. How are you going to convince these players they're getting their money's worth for it?
So one of the reasons we call him Crazy Algrid, and I always remind you of this when you and I do these episodes, and you've probably forgotten. Do you know how many of these Algrid owns?
Oh boy, buddy.
He's got 3 of them, and he's really famous. That I never let him forget is that he forgot that he had one, like he lost it under the bed type of thing. He go, "Oh, I just found my other javelin," like, and I was like,
Whoops.
What? You just
accidentally transferred it.
Yeah, he forgot he'd had it in a pack, right? And I was like, well, how big is this pack that you forgot you had a javelin in it? Like, more money than sense, that man. But yeah, again,
it's wild.
Just note that if you're buying this, these are for massive orgs. You're going to know you got a lot of friends, and you got a lot of people to crew them. And I do know a lot of people worry about these type of ships, but we are going to have player search functionality and stuff like that, and player rating systems, so people are not going to want to stuff around because they'll stuff their rating.
NPC crews can maybe fill some holes, but still, man, I mean,
you got to
overall, like, they've got something to prove with the Polaris coming in, having missions that can fit a ship that size. But you step up to something like this, and you got to keep going and going. Fleet battles, server meshing might be the answer, but we'll see.
You want to know you got friends to fill it, or not fill it, but at least, you know what I mean. You got to have friends.
Yeah.
If you don't have friends, there's not a ship for you. No, I shouldn't say that.
Gotta have friends.
Yeah. Nautilus, we already did. Redeemer. I love this thing, but it's getting harder and harder to recommend at that price point, considering that's exactly the same price as a Caterpillar. You got a Galaxy only $50 away. Oh, you could get an Eclipse. No, well, actually, it looks better value when you look at it next to Eclipse, though, doesn't it? It's the same price as an F8 Lightning. Now, would you take an F8 Lightning or this? And when you look at it like that, it's not. It gets better, but again, combat ships just have this premium price, and most of the ships we'll look at today have that premium pricing because they're combat, which is why Aegis is such a popular day at Invictus.
That's why they focus so much on combat too.
So if you had to pick between an Eclipse, a F8, and a Redeemer, I know which one of those 3 I'd be picking, and it would be this
Redeemer.
One. Yeah.
Yeah,
and you and I
want to bring my friends.
Yeah, well, you and I have to love it because of our friend Paul. Paul loves this thing; it's his favorite ship. It shows so in his hangar.
I'll always stand for the Redeemer because of Paul.
Yeah, always tell Paul that you love his favorite ship when you see him. He loves it when we do that. But he'll kill you. Right. Right. The Retaliator. This might be a good little bit of a segue because this thing is the base variant. It's now gone back to kind of a base variant, is now $175. It was $150, so it's essentially jumped up by $25. But what they've done by today is they've added modularity, which is game-changing, I think, for a lot of ships now coming in. So what's your thoughts on this now that we've kind of seen it come out? Because it's going to rock things a bit, I think.
Well, we kind of knew from last October when they dropped the Retaliator in that little trailer.
Yep.
This would, and they've said it too in several different shows over the last few years, that the Retaliator would be where modularity starts. And so here we're finally seeing it. And this is a pretty big moment for Star Citizen. We don't exactly know how it's going to play out, but this is something that people have been waiting years for, since these kinds of ships started to be sold 8 years ago.
Yep.
This is going to allow a lot more people to get into different types of gameplay in a ship that they may have gotten that didn't originally allow that.
Yep.
Which is good, just to expand on gameplay opportunities for folks.
Yep.
And obviously this is going to be a revenue stream for them, which is kind of the part that most people are, probably looking at this and thinking already, this is a chance for them to sell more things. But this also bumps up against variants. This is going to be a huge conversation topic of like, how do variants work and all that.
It stuffed up a few chains today, so essentially the price of the ship has dropped. It's baffled me. I didn't think that it was going to do that. I thought it was going to go up, but it's come down. So you've got the base variant that's essentially gone up by $25, but the Retaliator bomber that was $300, if we go down to the bottom here for a second, is actually, where did it go? Here we go. has actually dropped. So where is it? Oh, I was here before and I've lost it. It was Retaliator torpedo enabled. That's it there. So it's down to 255, and it was 300.
So that's basically just coming. That's the base variant with two torpedo modules.
Yeah, the front, the stern, and the bows. They've called it. Which is. Or is it only one? I wonder if it's one. Is that what? No, it's got no.
No, it's two. You can see them flashing them there.
Yep. Then you've got this ridiculous one that comes with all the modules, which puts it up to 360. Because I was originally pricing this out, and I'm like, does that mean with all modules it's like 420 or whatever? And I'm like, oh. So yeah, but you can, as I was kind of trying to show up here, you can actually mix and match now. So you can go like a cargo with a personnel module, you know, and you can drop ship module and a torpedo bomber. So it is definitely going to give some flexibility to I think other ships like generally have one module. The fact that this has got two, can you imagine if the Galaxy had two modules where you could, I want a medical refinery, or I want a cargo medical or cargo refinery. So yeah, it's different in the fact that it's got two modules.
Yeah,
but the price drop is really thrown me.
It's an exciting time.
Yeah,
I hope that they can do this well and make it work well with the game to complete the goals they originally set out for it. But this is really cool. Like I look forward to seeing how easy is it to switch out modules. How often are we doing this? Is one of the ships that I enjoy maybe going to have modules at some point?
Yep.
It could be an exciting way to use your ship, customize it.
That's the one thing I would like to check real quick. So 30, so it doesn't give a lot of cargo capacity though, right? So it is kind of small in its cargo capacity, 38 and 36. What's that?
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. But the other thing,
it's more than 70 SCU in a combat transport.
Yeah, well, the thing,
valuable goods.
Well, it makes it a really good smuggler, believe it or not, because are you going to go up and go, I'm going to pick a fight with this Retaliator, but does it have a torpedo bomber? Or is it a cargo module? Or does it have a cargo module and a torpedo module? Do you know what I mean? So you can essentially smuggle through deception, and it's the same that cut with both cargo modules. It's the same price as the Taurus now. So it's just interesting where that has gone now, and I can tell there's an episode coming out about modularity that we're gonna have to sit down and talk about. At some point.
That is cool, because now we have a toned down constellation with higher combat capabilities, and they didn't have to release a new ship to do that.
Exactly. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's essentially taken what was almost like the Eclipse and made it a utility ship, and now you can kind of see. I think it's got to do with the fact that it's got modules, but I also think the fact that it's got two modules. So you can kind of
the two modules is cool.
Yeah, weird mix and match thing. Last thing that I kind of want to talk about ever so briefly is the skins. I was just a big fan of this one. And that's all I want to say. Looks like a wasp. I thought that was kind of cool. The whole stinger
Bumblebee.
thing. Yeah, Bumblebee. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Right, back to the regular scheduled program. Saber Firebird. Now, you said you're a big fan of... Wait, that's the normal Saber, not the Firebird.
No, this is a regular Saber.
This is right. All right, let's skip ahead then, because I said Firebird. All right, so you said you were a fan of the Firebird. What do you like about it? What tickles your fancy on this one?
Purely its looks. I could care less about what the ship is for. I'm not a combat person. Missiles are cool. Sure, it'll be fun for folks.
Do you know who...
The ship looks sick.
Out of the Space Tomato family, I know who would care about it, and that'd be Honey. Honey is going to wreck a few faces in this one, I think.
She's going to enjoy blowing people up with this. Yeah, she'll probably want one in pink.
Yep.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, we can make that
CIG, make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. Actually, the skins you were talking about, one of the skins, it looks like it was out of Halo. If I can open that real quickly. There was...
the Windswept, I think it's called.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
I can actually see that as a
looks like a yeah.
Windbeak. Is that it?
This is like the
Windbeak.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Windbreak. Yeah, this is like the Wasp Mark 25. You know, it's a couple hundred years after the events of Halo 3 and 4, but dude, yeah, I could see this being the I don't remember what the name of the ship is. Longsword, I think it's called, the ship that Master Chief escapes from the Pillar of Autumn in the first game. I could see this being it.
Valentine's Day, next year, like kind of the black with the pink highlights, I reckon. Or yeah, I reckon that'll go down a treat for Valentine's Day. There you go. Put it out there, Space. You should tweet that.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, tweet it or get Honey to tweet it to CIG.
I love the freaking design of this, dude. I have a Saber Raven, and I've always had little problems with it, and this actually takes care of a lot of the little problems I had with it, and that really bums me out because I don't want to get rid of that.
Well, go back and look at your Saber Raven. They did a gold pass on it. I think you'll be surprised. It flies heaps different now.
No, it's the design. It's the art. There are certain angles that I look at the Raven and I'm like, oof. Like the holes in the back, I love that they filled those in. The fins, I love that. Little homage to the Saber.
Yeah,
ooh, it's good.
As me and Aga was saying when we were looking at it during the week, it is somewhere between the two. It's kind of like it's like merged between the two. I like that.
You can definitely see it.
So we should probably go back and do the other two. The Saber again at $170. Can you justify 15 to get to a Firebird from a normal Saber?
Nah, I would prefer a Saber.
Yeah, again, for $15 with all the guns, I think you're going to get more out of this than you like. I'd rather the guns over the missiles, because once you fire those missiles, like the missiles are nice to have, but once they're gone, you're then on the back foot. So there's a strong going into a fight, but then if you use them all, you're on the back foot. And I'd rather the versatility of the guns personally.
It's okay, I die immediately anyways. I just get rid of the missiles and then blow up. I hope I got my target.
I think that'd also be a thing across the board today. We generally don't recommend buying fighters because they're not good value, as you've seen through the things we've been going through today. Again, there's one of these older skins, and again, it literally puts it to the same price as the Firebird. Why the hell would you get a Comet when you can get
the Comet?
Like, if you can upgrade, the Comet.
The Comet was always such a weird. This was before they came up with the skin system, right? Like they should just discontinue these.
Yeah, this needs to be rolled into a skin, and essentially, I know they don't want to refund people money, but I would turn it into a skin for $5 to $8, whatever it is at that price point, and then just give people credit on their account. That's how I would do it, quite honestly.
Just get it done with. Like all these old variants like that.
Yep. All right, so we're on to the Harbinger. I think we're going to get the Hoplite, we're going to get the Sentinel, we're going to get all of them. So we can just do the Vanguards together. Is there a sweet spot here, you think, for the Warden?
Oh my god! The Vanguard, I don't know much about the Vanguard series, to be honest.
I think it's the Sentinel.
Because I like the Sentinel's color a lot more.
It's the E-Warfare. Its uniqueness. So let's break it down. So Harbinger, I think you get a better torpedo bomber in the Gladiator, sorry. And the only benefit this has over the Gladiator is its long rangeness. And yes, that will be proven in time. But again, the price, you are again paying extra for a really niche ship. The only thing it really gets over the Gladiator is its range, right? So for that price, I can pass on that one. Right.
Jesus, the Gladiator. You
go down to the Hoplite. The Hoplite, this was put in the game, which eventually became the Valkyrie. It was a dropship. There are just better dropships. This does have a place in the game, though, still. It's just probably the worst of the 4 Vanguard variants. Right.
Yeah, also...
Go ahead.
Also, now we have the Legionnaire.
Yep. Absolutely.
For boarding.
There's a difference between dropships and boarding, though.
But they're calling it a boarding vessel right there.
I guess you could technically use it and drop people out, like down the gangplank, and drop them, off as well. So yeah, I can see your point.
It's the way that they're marketing it. I'm not sure why it's a boarding vessel and not a dropship, but if they're going to call it that, it's going to get compared to the actual boarding vessel.
Yep. So the one thing that this would have over the Legionnaire is it's got redundancy out of everything. So almost every module has 2. So it's got like 2 power plants, 2 shields, and all that. So it's just got lots of, because it's long range and away from everything, needed a lot of redundancy. Right. So with Sentinel, we talked about, that's where I think it's at. The last one is the Warden. I would say this is the second best one. This is kind of the default variant, and it's really just a long range fighter. So it doesn't have any of the bells or the whistles. So it also doesn't have the escalation in price. Hoplite, though, would be the most similar, but you don't get the you don't get the beds in this one. So you're essentially giving up the long rangeness of this to make it a short range variant. which still goes long range. It's a bit weird. So the Hoplite's just in a weird spot. So yeah, I'd say it's between these two. But again, when you're talking $15 and there is no other real as hardly dedicated E-Warfare ship in the game, I think the closest you'd get at would be the Warlock and the missiles on the Banner Defender that have these EMP missiles. They'd probably be the only other two in the game right now, and I'm probably missing one. But yeah, so that's where it's at for me. Is there any that you want to kind of go back across there, or you want to move on?
No, I don't know them that well.
Okay, well, I look forward to Space Demand video
I like
soon.
the color on the Sentinel. That's
yeah. E-Warfare, there's going to be a thing when that comes back around. I know you'll do a big video on it when it comes around, but yeah. Right, the Vulcan, $200, profession starter. It's probably besides the Terrapin, it's the most expensive of the profession starters. And I do find a place for this. But as I said, it's just kind of expensive for what it is. And a lot of those professional starters really got overhyped when they first dropped, especially the Terrapin. Like, considering for $25 less, you can get a Vulture. For $50 less, you can get a Prospector. You see where I'm going, right? It's just a little overpriced for what it is.
I think this thing is probably worth that price, though.
Yep. I think
this is what, a 3-person ship and you're getting drones?
Yep. Its biggest issue is it really can kind of only effective because it's only got 12 SCU, so it can only really effectively, like, if you're taking out multiple things, you're not going to be repairing, refueling, and rearming much. But if you take out just refueling stuff or just refining, so not refining, sorry, one of those three, you're going to be able to do more. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait till it comes in game. Again, it's hard to see. Like 12 SCU in fuel could be a lot because you're only doing fighters. You know what I mean? So, yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm going to say its biggest problem is that it's not out yet.
Yep.
Get this thing into our hands because I love this ship and I want it so bad. Yep. I see this as the quintessential get a couple friends, go out into a place like Pyro and just sit and wait for some beacons, you know?
Yep.
Fly out there, you got the acoustic guitar sort of Wild West Serenity Firefly style music going on in the background. You're just refueling folks that are broken down every once in a while. Like little jobs, right?
Yep. Well, the other thing is, like, this is the other thing now, the SRVs in the game too, is what's going to be more beneficial. A ship that can, repair smallish type of ships, or a ship that can literally just tow you back to get repaired at a station. So,
nah, people want to stay out where they are. You got a mining ship that just overcharged a rock and blew off one of its pods. It doesn't want to get towed back to the station. Do the repairs right there, you know?
I don't know. We'll see. It just depends where it goes. Because if you lose a wing, this can't put a wing back on, right? You got to go to like a crucible to get a wing pick on. It is really going to determine by how much damage has been done. But if you're just out of fuel, absolutely. That's perfect.
This could be the quote unquote fuel rats of Star Citizen's ship when it comes time to it.
I think its strength is like landing and repairing tanks in battle because it can send the drone over a hill and stay out of harm's way and send a drone in to repair a tank and get a tank recovered or refuel a tank so it can keep fighting or rearm a tank. So I think its strength will come on the ground. Excuse me. Oh. That hit me fairly hard, that one. Right, with that then...
Vulcan will do that to you.
Oh, haha, so he did there. Right, let's have a quick look in the store for some skins real quick, but I think that'll be it for... Oh, no, I went to the wrong one, god damn it. And now it's got to load. If I quickly go to, what do you call it, the CCU, I had it here somewhere, and I've lost it. When I did that restart earlier. So there's 2 CCUs today. There is one for the Gladius Valiant, so it's not in a really good spot. And the other one was for the Firebird as well. That's also not in a good spot because it lines up with the old Super Hornet CCU. So it may stuff a few chains. And as I said, the Valiant one also goes across the area where the Cutlass used to go. So it is also in a weird spot. And now I can't find it. It'll be down here a second. There it is. So that'll be the kind of only other one. But if you are just buying it, like you're new to the game, yeah, go absolutely nuts. But yeah, it's just a weird spot for that one. But again, we don't generally recommend those skins. So instead of paying $20 to get a skin, you're paying $10. So yeah, drink of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. So yeah. Right.
Grain of salt.
Yeah, I think that's everything for today. Space, other than, as I said, the skins, but I think we kind of went into that. So all it's done now is add the Aegis ones. There is no new one at all. They're all older Aegis ones that we've seen before. So
interesting choice.
yeah. So hopefully it would have been. I'm just kind of surprised we didn't see one for the Saber or for the Raven or for the Firebird. I find that kind of really weird, personally.
Yeah, that is kind of weird, actually.
Yeah.
Give me that Firebird skin.
Right. With that, then, where can people find you on the interwebs, Mr. Space Tomato?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of places. If you type in Space Tomato, there's a chance that'll pop up. But just go on YouTube and search for Space Tomato. I've got a second channel, Space Tomato 2, for long-form content podcasts, and then a third channel for gameplay, Space Tomato Plays. Super creative.
Yeah.
Also streaming on Twitch and on YouTube.
Named it yourself. Yeah. All right. Just let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of Aegis Day. It tended to be a very big day for sales. As I said, by the time you guys see this, the big ships will well and truly be sold out. The Idris and the Javelin. Is there anything you'd like to hear from people below in the comments space?
What do they think of modularity?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big one. We'll probably, if we don't talk about it on stream, we'll definitely might do an episode because it's going to change the game. Expect a big space video soon. Would that be a video you do? You can do a video on that one?
I might. Yeah. We'll see.
I'll twist his arm.
We'll see how.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see how big it is.
With that, then, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And thank you to everyone that went extra mile at the end of the video on Patreon. All right. He's been Space Tomato. I've been Execute. See you later, citizens. Say goodbye, Space.
Goodbye.